Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. When we think about giving our kids a real head start in life, our minds usually go straight to tangible things, right? Things like fancy educational toys, elite programs, or all those resources you can buy. But the absolute most strategic asset for child development, well, it's not for sale. It's time. Time is this incredibly vital, yet completely fleeting resource. And how we actually use it during those super early years, it literally shapes the whole shebang. It sets the foundation for absolutely everything that follows.
Which brings us to a huge question, especially in today's crazy, fast-paced world. Are we rushing childhood? I mean, think about it. There is this intense, almost overwhelming pressure on parents right now to get their kids into early schooling. Sometimes we're talking about putting toddlers in a classroom when they are just 2 years old. 2? It's kind of wild, right? It's like society expects us to start building a 2-year-old's academic resume before they can even tie their own shoes. We're essentially putting a tiny, developing human on this academic treadmill before they can string a full sentence together, all because we're terrified that if they aren't in a classroom right this second, they're already falling behind.
So let's look at Section 1, the early schooling trap, the rush to the classroom.
When we give into this rush, it usually means we start chasing these very specific, highly visible milestones. We want them memorizing colors, naming fruits, reciting the alphabet, pointing out shapes, counting numbers, and singing nursery rhymes. It's almost treated like a competitive sport. We see these little party tricks and immediately equate them with deep intelligence. But actually, scratch that. Cognitive science tells us something totally different. Early rote memorization absolutely does not equal advanced cognitive development. By hyper-focusing on these standard memorized by rote subjects, we're actually missing out on the deep, foundational brain development that a young kid truly needs to thrive.
Which brings us to Section 2, redefining true development, knowing the right things at the right time.
Okay, so there is a massive myth out there. The myth is that development is all about knowing things earlier. It's the idea that cramming colors, shapes, and alphabets into a toddler's brain as fast as humanly possible is the ultimate goal. But the reality is that true development is about knowing the right things at the exact right time. And for a tiny child, those right things are deeply, profoundly experiential. It's about learning to care. It's about having the freedom to just get out and explore nature. It is, at its absolute core, learning how to be happy. This kind of hands-on, experiential learning is the real bedrock of a healthy, growing mind. Honestly, it completely outstrips the value of drilling them with a flashcard.
Let me repeat that because it's absolutely crucial. Development is not about knowing things earlier, it is about knowing the right things at the right time. For any parent listening to this explainer, this should honestly be a massive sigh of relief. You can officially put the flashcards away. Development isn't some mad dash to the finish line. It's much more like a carefully timed blossoming. By actually respecting a child's natural pace of learning, you're building a substantially stronger foundation for complex thought way down the line.
So how do we actually make this happen? Well, we do it by giving our kids the space to learn to care, explore nature, and find happiness purely through observation. Kids are basically little natural scientists, right? They're like little sponges, just soaking up every bit of the emotional and physical environment around them. So instead of forcing a rigid curriculum on them, teach through observation. Taking 10 quiet minutes to watch a bug crawl across a leaf in the backyard, showing empathy to the family dog, or just finding pure joy in baking some cookies together, these everyday moments, that's where the real heavy lifting of child development actually happens.
And when you do this, it kicks off this incredibly beautiful chain reaction. Step 1, you time their development correctly. You hold off on forcing the alphabets and the numbers prematurely. Once you do that, Step 2 just happens organically. The child evolves and learns naturally, building this profound sense of self-confidence. And because they've built up that rock-solid, secure foundation, Step 3 is practically guaranteed. They reach peak performance at their own pace. They literally hit their absolute highest potential, all because their development was respected and perfectly timed to their unique biological readiness.
Moving on to Section 3, the 10-year window, the ticking clock of undivided attention.
10. That is the magic number. As a parent or primary caregiver, you realistically only have a maximum of 10 years. 10 years of your child's undivided attention to teach them all those core essentials we were just talking about: caring, happiness, and exploration. Now I know, some days feel impossibly long when you're endlessly changing diapers or navigating epic toddler tantrums, but trust me, in the grand, sweeping scheme of human development, these years are remarkably, painfully short.
Let's just walk through this timeline of influence really quick. From age 0 to 8 years old, a child's mind is undergoing its most rapid development. It's wiring its entire understanding of the world at breakneck speed. And right up until age 10, you basically hold a total monopoly on their attention. To them, you are the center of the universe. But after 10, the whole dynamic shifts. That influence pivots dramatically toward the external world. Suddenly, it's all about role models, their friends, and outside culture. You are still incredibly important, obviously, but you no longer hold that undivided, primary influence. This is exactly why getting it right in those first 8 to 10 years is literally everything.
So please do not miss out. The mind is developing most rapidly right now. Your kid might seem so small today, maybe just a toddler running circles around your feet, but their brain is absorbing its environment at a pace that it will never, ever replicate again. We are talking about more than 1 million new neural connections forming every single second in those first few years. Every second. They are constantly absorbing the emotional intelligence, the deep empathy, and the actual capacity for happiness that will absolutely dictate the kind of adults they eventually become.
Which leaves us with one final, pretty heavy question. Will you waste this incredibly precious, fleeting window of brain development drilling nursery rhymes and rote facts that they are inevitably going to learn anyway? Time is far and away your child's most strategic asset, and you are the ultimate guardian of that time. So choose wisely how you spend it. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. It's been great having you, and I'll catch you in the next one.